Thanks, Alexis. When we're getting some feedback on the volume, and so you'll have to hopefully correct the volume on your end, but we'll make sure we're chatting nice and loud for you. We also have the Q&A feature, as Alexis mentioned. So you should be able to click on the little Q&A button there. And as questions come up for you during our presentation today, feel free to drop any questions in there. We're definitely not going to use the whole 45 minutes with our presentation. And so that'll give us some time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. With that, let's go ahead and jump in. And like I mentioned, we are all from the Office of Student Involvement. The student involvement staff are always available to meet with students and help them discover their passions and get connected with their peers and the campus community. Spartans who utilize student involvement as a resource can get connected to recognized student organizations, fraternity and sorority life, campus programs and events, and leadership development programs. These activities are a great complement to your classroom experience and an exciting part of student life at San Jose State University. On this slide, you can see a picture of our team participating in the annual golf cart parade as a part of SJSU's homecoming week in the fall. You might recognize many of us as the speakers on this webinar. While we are still in a hybrid work schedule and split our time between physically being in the office and working from home, we continue to work to support our students both in person and for those in a distance learning atmosphere. The student involvement staff assists students to engage with our campus community in a variety of ways. And the first point that we'll address today is why it's important to get involved in college. Why get involved? One of the many reasons why departments like ours exist on college campuses is because we know that purposeful and intentional engagement on campus leads to better academic outcomes. SJSU provides plenty of opportunities for students to build connections, and that's true even in a virtual environment. Involvement looks different for everyone, and we're confident that you'll find ways that work for you to get connected, build positive relationships with peers, faculty, and staff, and grow as a student and a leader. Getting involved in life outside of the classroom allows you to build skills such as critical thinking, communication, problem solving, and more, all of which will help you succeed in your classes and in your future career. Our staff are here to help you discover new clubs, passions, and opportunities for connection. We're available to meet with you during business hours, both by stopping by our office, as well as video chats and phone calls. You can also connect with us to ask a quick question using the live chat feature on our website. And to tell us a little bit more about some of our programs and how we have been accomplishing things with COVID and a worldwide pandemic, I'm going to pass it over to Caitlin.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. So we will have many different ways for you to get involved in our programs, connect with other students, and develop that true Spartan pride. With a mixture of in-person classes, online, and hybrid style classes in the fall, our programs will look similarly. Whether you are on campus or taking a class online at home, there will be a variety of opportunities throughout the semester to ensure all students can access our services no matter where you are. You may find yourself watching a live stream of a speaker with a virtual discussion, getting to know other students in mixers and student organization meetings, or engaging with others online with activities like bingo and painting. Even if you are not living on or near campus, you'll be able to interact with many of our programs. We are committed to helping students get involved and have a great experience at San Jose State University. There will also be many other remotely accessible support services available to you, including academic advising and library resources, Black Opportunity and Resource Center, Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center, Gender Equity Center, Mosaic Cross Cultural Center, Pride, Undocu Spartan Resource Center, Veterans Resource Center, SJSU Cares, Student Wellness Center, and many more. One of the best ways to get involved at San Jose State University is by joining one of our over 350 recognized student organizations on campus. These organizations are grouped into 5 primary categories. The first is academic honorary organizations, which are usually focused on a particular major, career field, or area of study. The next one is club sports, competitive club teams that typically travel and compete against other university teams. Cultural, religious organizations that support and provide visibility to Spartans of various faiths, racial or ethnic backgrounds, fraternities and sororities, which we'll be talking about on the next slide, and special interests, which are organizations with a specific focus, such as specialized hobby or organizations based around a particular idea or action. Just a few examples of the organizations we have at San Jose State University are the Finance and Economics Women's Club, Club Quidditch, Software and Computer Engineering Society, and the Pokemon Club. Whether you're looking to explore your career field, connect and socialize with other students, or finding a community for your favorite hobby or interest, there are a variety of organizations to choose from at SJSU. If you cannot find an organization that fits your interests or goals, students also have the ability to start their own student organization by finding 4 other students with similar interests and completing the recognition process through student involvement. Student involvement also supports fraternity and sorority life at San Jose State. We have 30+ active chapters on our campus with a total of around 1,300 students involved in these organizations. Fraternity and sorority life at San Jose State University offers an atmosphere filled with friendship, scholarship, service, and philanthropy. It is a great way for students to find a sense of home in an organization that connects to their core values, expand their leadership skills, and become part of a network of members on a local, regional, national, or even international level. The recruitment or intake process varies depending on the organization. Most of these organizations begin their processes at the beginning of the fall and or spring semesters and may hold formal or informal recruitment events. You can find more information on when and where specific organizations recruit by reaching out to student leaders directly through Instagram and the SAMI app, or by following all of the chapters linked on our student involvement website. As you will find on the next slide, students who are eligible for membership must be enrolled in at least 6 units and must have at least a 2.6 SJSU cumulative GPA. First-time freshmen and transfer students are exempt from the GPA requirement. However, some organizations may have additional requirements to membership. We've now covered the basics about our student organizations, how to learn more about the organizations you're interested in, and the benefits of getting involved. Another way you can connect with your peers and be a part of the campus community is through attending campus events. I'll pass it over to my colleague Alexis, who will go more into campus programming.
Thanks, Caitlin. In addition to large campus-wide programs, commuter, international, transfer, and graduate students can attend events designed with their needs in mind. For example, we host an international student mixer every semester and an annual networking event for graduate students. We also gather a list of many events and services available to students during final exams at the end of each semester, so you can finish your courses on a strong stride. How can you find out more about campus events? We highly recommend that you download the SJSU SAMI app, our campus's engagement app that has been downloaded by over 35,000 San Jose State University students. It's a great tool that enables you to view upcoming events, investigate our hundreds of student orgs, learn about various offices and departments, and to chat with other students on the community wall. There's also a campus events calendars on the San Jose State University website at events.sjsu.edu. You won't see all of the student organization events on this site, but many offices use it to post information about their upcoming events. To see student involvement hosted events, you can view a Google Calendar on our website, sjsu.edu/getinvolved, under campus events or through our monthly newsletters. Student involvement helps to host several series of campus events, including Weeks of Welcome, the Spartan Speaker Series, and finals programs. Weeks of Welcome, often referred to as WOW, is a campus-wide initiative supported by more than 30 offices and departments, including the Career Center, Study Abroad, Mosaic Cross-Cultural Center, Athletics, and the College of Science, just to name a few. WOW is focused on welcoming all Spartans to campus and supporting our new students in their transition to life at San Jose State University, whether they're living on campus, nearby in San Jose, or studying remotely from home. These WOW events are broken down into 7 different categories to help students find events that appeal to their needs and interests. WOW events are free and open to all students and can range in size from smaller gatherings to large virtual and in-person events. Some events that were hosted last fall include a virtual paint night, silent disco in the housing quad, a Latinas in leadership panel, multiple trivia events, Mad Libs with the Writing Center, a resume workshop, college open houses, and a virtual student organization kickoff. You might be wondering how taking classes in a hybrid, in-person, and virtual year has affected the WOW experience. Last fall, there were 95 events as part of WOW, a 50% increase from traditionally fully in-person semesters. From our feedback survey, we know that attending even just 1 or 2 WOW events helps students feel more connected to campus and learn more about the campus resources available to support their academic journey. Virtual social events were also a great way for students to meet people and make new friends. As we get closer to the beginning of the school year, you will be able to find a full list of all WOW events on our website and the SAMI app. The other campus-wide program we wanted to share with you today is our Spartan Speaker Series. The series brings artists, activists, scientists, and other distinguished figures to campus each semester. These individuals engage with students during a presentation in which they share their personal stories and discuss their areas of expertise in timely content. We had 9 inspiring speakers join us this academic year, including Simu Liu from Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Yara Shahidi from Blackish, Eugene Lee Yang from the Try Guys, and journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones. Other notable Spartan speakers from previous years have included Anthony Porowski, Diane Guerrero, Sean King, Tarana Burke, and Wong Fu Productions. We're still finalizing our lineup for the fall, but I highly encourage you to look out for the event details and attend as we finalize for the fall. Visit our website for updated information and for the full list of past speakers. We've now covered 3 of the 4 areas of student involvement. Next up is leadership development programs. Here in student involvement, we believe that leadership is a process, not a position or a title. Research shows that leadership skills are beneficial in and out of the classroom and can help ensure your academic and professional successes. Involvement in these kinds of programs can help you persist throughout college to graduation, land an internship or job, and discover what you want to do. We have many different kinds of leadership programs for you to develop a wide range of skills designed to fit your interests, needs, and schedules. Some of our opportunities are as follows. You can join the Leadership and Career Certificate Program, which is a collaboration between student involvement and the Career Center. By bringing leadership and career development together, this semester-long, self-paced, free, and online opportunity will help students develop strengths and meet their goals, and position you to achieve success long after you graduate. This pairs with our Spartan Leadership and Career Conference in the fall. This conference is a one-day event with speakers from national employers, San Jose State University alumni, campus leaders, and even fellow students. You can choose sessions you'd like to attend based on your interests, and there's plenty of networking opportunities. The National Society of Leadership and Success, or NSLS, is the nation's largest leadership honor society, and you have the opportunity to join SJSU's chapter. Members receive lifelong benefits such as continued leadership education opportunities, access to scholarship and job banks, and much more. Finally, I wanted to highlight our Emerging Leaders program. This is a unique opportunity for new SJSU students to enhance and develop your leadership skills, your understanding of campus resource and programs, and to connect with other new students. Participants complete the semester-long program with many activities and connections to help ensure your success at SJSU. We also host many workshops throughout the year on a variety of different topics, and we're currently developing even more leadership opportunities for all students. So stay tuned for our full fall 2022 calendar.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alexis. And that is actually the end of our formal presentation for this evening. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you've gained a better understanding and just a taste of what student life at SJSU is like and how our team is here to support your involvement journey. If you have any questions that were not yet answered in this presentation, at this time we will accept questions through the Q&A feature, or you may utilize the chat, whatever is easier for you. Before we jump into that section, I do want to highlight some of our ways to contact us. Don't forget to follow us on social media. You'll see it here at WowSJSU. We're very active on Instagram, always posting upcoming events and opportunities. We also have our newsletter, which is sent to all current students. So you'll get that monthly. Were you to enroll at San Jose State, you don't even have to do anything. We have some of our other information there, including our general email address and phone number, contacts for some of our specific areas, like our Greek Life Instagram. We also, as we mentioned before, have a live chat bot on our website, which is sjsu.edu/get-involved. So if you have a fairly simple question, you should be able to log into there and get directed to your answer. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Caitlin and Alexis back up to the virtual podium, or whatever you want to call it. And let's start going through some of these questions that our admitted community has for us. So let's see. Let's check in with Helen and Anna. Are there any questions maybe we should start with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
my
Helen.
bad, yeah, the first question is, what are the steps to join an organization or club?
Yeah, I can start there, and then maybe Caitlin, if you want to go into the specifics for fraternities and sororities, because those are organizations with very specific criteria, and they also have like a somewhat lengthy process that usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. But to answer your question specifically about how to join a club, there's a couple of different ways. So we have our club pages within the SJSU SAMI app. So one way that you can quote unquote join a club is by hopping into that page and adding yourself as a member of that organization. And that'll kind of keep you in the loop on if they post any updates or upcoming events that are going on. But for the most part, the reality of it, if you're formally joining an organization, is that it really depends on the focus of the organization and kind of what they're trying to accomplish. Some organizations have very specific criteria. So for example, if it's an honor society for your major, that's going to have a GPA requirement associated with it, right? Because they're accepting the best of the best of what's coming from your major. Some clubs may require a specific fee for the semester or for the year. And so that fee pays for cool events that they organize. We have a lot of organizations that are career focused around a particular field, and they'll do things. We have the privilege of living in Silicon Valley, right? And so we'll organize a lot of company tours to companies that are thriving in Silicon Valley and kind of getting firsthand insight onto what those companies are like. But those opportunities aren't free, so there might be a fee associated. The reality is you really have to check in with that specific organization on what the requirements are. I think Caitlin mentioned something like the Pokemon Club. That's probably a more laid back club where you can just say, hey, I want to join. How do I do that? And they say, you're a member now. So to put a short answer to my long answer, it depends on the organizations that you're interested in. And you really have to kind of reach out to them in the same way that you're kind of navigating this college process. And, you applied to the college and you're working with that university to see, am I going to go there or not? There's a similar back and forth that you would have with any club at any university of, hey, I'm interested in joining. What are the steps for this particular organization? And they might say, hey, attend an info session at the beginning of the year, or fill out this form and we'll get back to you. So there's just a little bit of like research and due diligence and kind of like putting yourself out there to the San Jose State community. So I'll end my answer there. But Caitlin, did you want to chime in at all about fraternity sorority life?
Yes, I can add in a little more specifics to fraternity and sorority life. So kind of adding on a little bit to what Jordan mentioned, all of these organizations do have specific requirements. So some can range from, just San Jose State's eligibility requirements. So that's that SJSU GPA of a 2.6 or being enrolled in a certain amount of units. So beyond that, additional requirements can be participating in leadership opportunities and being enrolled in a certain amount of classes. So it kind of just depends on the organization. More specifically for fraternity and sorority life, though, most, if not all of those organizations do hold the start of their recruitment processes at the beginning of the fall or spring semesters, kind of depending on whether or not they're looking for new members. And again, it does vary across different organizations. So some of them have informal recruitment events, and that looks like attending, we'll just call them gatherings or general events, like attending events at like a golf range or on campus, or some of our fraternities and sororities actually have campus facilities. So, or not campus facilities, I apologize, housing facilities. So some of those organizations hold their informal events at those housing facilities. And what those events kind of look like, it can be something as simple as like an arts and crafts night. So you can be like painting a tote bag or something like that, decorating a pillow. Some of the fraternities have barbecues at their house. So it's more so like a more relaxed way of getting to know some of the members and vice versa. More specifically for Panhellenic sororities, that recruitment process in the fall includes a formal recruitment process. So instead of that informal way that I was mentioning, that formal process looks like if you're interested in joining, you have to essentially sign up and pay a fee for a 3-day weekend of recruitment. So it's essentially you're expected to attend 3 days worth of recruitment events, and those recruitment events involve just talking to the members. So kind of similar, but also on a different level. But that's just a general overview, more so on fraternities and sorority life, or fraternities and sororities, and how those organizations recruit.
Thanks, Caitlin. Hopefully that was a comprehensive answer to whoever asked. Great. Anna and Helen, we have any other questions lined up for us?
Yeah, so we have a question in the chat asking if there are any limits or maximum number of clubs a student can join.
That's another great question. Short answer is no, but the long answer is really, it's great for folks to be really, really engaged on campus, but it's really important to also know your limits and know how much you can commit to everything that you want to be interested in. And that really depends on, like where you're coming to San Jose State from. Are you living on campus? Are you a freshman? Maybe you have some more time and energy, and you'll only have to walk, 5 minutes to the meeting space on campus. And so maybe that allows you to be super, super involved in a bunch of different clubs. Are you commuting to campus? Are you taking classes online? Maybe you'll need to hone in your focus a little bit more to some specific opportunities that you're really passionate about and that line up with your schedule. And you also, don't have to rush into getting involved in 50 different things in your very first semester, right? Because the most important thing is that you're here to get a degree, hopefully. All of the experiences that we've talked about today really round out your experience as a student at San Jose State, but ultimately we want to make sure that you're succeeding in classes. And so I definitely don't tell students to join 50 different clubs, because no one can really manage all of that effectively. You're going to miss meetings or deadlines for your papers, or not study as much for your tests. There's only a number of hours in a day, right? So what I do recommend to new students is to do research. So, meticulously go through the list of clubs and see what sounds interesting to you, and pinpoint, like a handful of those kinds of opportunities. And it doesn't just have to be a club, right? You might be interested in volunteering in our community garden through the Cesar Chavez Community Action Center. You might be working on campus at the Spartan Aquatic and Recreation Center. All of that is extracurricular activity that you kind of need to be in tune with yourself and reflect on how much you're able to put into all of these opportunities. So my really, really long answer is do some, self-assessment and figure out with the class schedule that you have, the maybe family or other obligations, work, career obligations that you might have, and try and come up with a healthy balance of, what you want to be involved in versus making sure that those other things get done. Because you can always, have a healthy base of that involvement to start off with, and then, maybe the next semester you get involved in a few other things, and then the year after that it morphs into something completely different. So that's the advice that I would give based on your question. Alexis or Caitlin, did either one of you want to add anything else onto that?
One thing I'll add specifically for fraternities and sororities is, again, is you can only be a member of one fraternity or one sorority. So you can't be involved in, you can't have membership in two different sororities or two different fraternities. However, Jordan talked a little bit about honor societies. There is a Greek honor society. So with that being said, is you can be a member of your own sorority and also be a part of that Greek honor society, as well as like a professional or co-ed sorority or fraternity, or any of the other organizations that Jordan mentioned. But specifically though, for membership in a fraternal organization, you can only have one.
And for
Thanks.
leadership programs, I tell students in what we call the leadership community, or folks who have participated in leadership programs before, that these experiences are supposed to add to your overall experience and supplement them, not take away. So if you are stressed for time, or you feel as if your involvement is impacting you negatively, speak with your advisor, speak with the e-board, and there's definitely ways to work around that. But yeah, let these experiences add, not take away from what you're doing.
Love it. Thanks, team. Great. What other questions do we have?
Yes, in the Q&A, we have a couple of attendees asking about fees associated with a fraternity or sorority. And sort of adjacent to that is if there's a formal rush for Greek week.
Yeah, I can cover the formal rush process first. So like I mentioned, there's an informal and formal recruitment process. When it comes to formal recruitment happens at the beginning of the fall semester. And that is only for sororities, more specifically Panhellenic sororities. So what that looks like, it's a 3-day recruitment period process, and it's based on a mutual selection. So you all, as a potential new member, get the opportunity to talk to all of the active members in an organization or in the sorority, and kind of based on how well your conversations flow, if you like them, if they like you, then that kind of pushes you forward throughout the rest of the weekend. So that's what the formal experience looks like, and that only happens in the fall. If you are interested in going through that process, there is a sign-up sheet. It hasn't been released yet, but it'll be released sometime in the summer. With that though, there is going to be a charge. The charge to go through that recruitment process, pays for some of your food throughout the weekend, as well as like, essentially free swag. So if you do go through that process, you'll be receiving a free t-shirt. So that fee pays for that. Again, some of those, like the registration fee and the registration form, haven't been set in stone yet, but those will be released later in the summer if you're interested in going through that formal process. When it comes to general finances for joining a fraternity or sorority, again, that does depend on each organization. So if you are a new member, you will be expected to pay just a little bit more for that first time around. And that's because as a new member, you have to receive all of the fun things that you'll get as a member. So that includes like your PIN and just general other new member fees, which can include like other t-shirts and all of that. Throughout your time in membership, though, again, depending on the organization, it can range from paying a flat fee throughout the entire semester, and that'll cover everything that you do. So that's an all-inclusive kind of fee. Again, paying for all of your t-shirts, all of your events, anything that you want to go to. I know some organizations are not all-inclusive, so it's a little bit lower of a like straightforward fee. And then kind of depending on if you want t-shirts, if you want to go to events, then you'll just pay that out of pocket as, if you want to participate in those. And then in addition to that, I did mention like housing facilities. So if you are interested in living in a fraternity or sorority chapter facility, then those dues will vary as well, because you'll essentially be paying rent on top of your membership.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. Seeing a couple more questions in the chat. Got a question here. How many units or classes is usual? I would say to keep you on track to graduate from San Jose State in 4 years, it's usually 15 units, I want to say, per semester. And that will usually keep you on track to make sure you're completing all of your major requirements, as well as any like electives and things like that. So hopefully that answers your question. I see another Q&A question in here. Do clubs usually have internship opportunities? So clubs themselves don't usually hand out internships, but students make quite a lot of connections through clubs. So for example, we have a Latino business student association. So that organization wouldn't give out internships themselves, but they do company tours. They do panels with employers that are coming to campus speaking about what they're looking for in potential employees. And so through these, partnerships with companies and things like that, it's a lot of networking basically that the company will know like, oh, I should reach out to this club, because they have a lot of potentially great employees as a part of their membership. So most formal internship opportunities are offered like through a class. You can get some sort of like number of units for them. We also have a job platform at San Jose State called Handshake. And the Career Center on campus is the office that manages that app. But that's where quite a lot of internships get posted, is on the Handshake app. And that's so that, the Career Center is amazing and incredible on campus, and also tries to protect students as well and make sure that when our students are being reached out to about an opportunity, that it's a legitimate opportunity that they can put on their resume, and make sure, they're getting some sort of wage or something, or whatever that might be associated with it. So hopefully that answers your question. Got another question.
Yeah, we have another question, Jordan. Would housing financial aid count toward fraternity housing?
That's an understandable question. I believe the answer to this is no, Caitlin, that it's essentially out of pocket when you pay for fraternity or sorority housing. Am I accurate in saying that?
So I'm not too familiar on the disbursement of financial aid. I do know that kind of depending on the individual and how you want to disperse your financial aid, you can either use that to pay for some of your rent, or you can use that to pay for some of your, it kind of depends on how you're financing everything. So again, depending on that money, you can use it. That's more specifically though geared towards how you are financing, how you're paying for, your tuition, your rent, and all of that as well too. And like that just accounts for like, general living too. So again, dependent on how you as the individual choose to disperse your financial aid.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit different than, you get accepted to the university and then you go to the university housing. That's essentially like taken care of for you, or integrated into your campus fees. But fraternity and sorority housing is not controlled by San Jose State directly, and so it wouldn't be that same kind of relationship. So hopefully that answers your question. Looking at a couple more club questions on here. What are the opportunities which SJSU offers students planning to go to med school, biology major? There are so many science-based organizations. It's actually crazy. The first few that come to mind for me, we have a Beta, the Biology Honor Society. We have, it depends on your focus too, right? So we have a biomedical engineering organization, and actually a sub organization that organizes an annual conference. So there's definitely professional and career-based organizations like that. There's too many for me to be able to list off the top of my head. But there's plenty, and you can view that list of clubs. You don't have to be a student right now in order to see everything that's available. And it also, kind of changes by the semester and by the day, because the more members an organization has, the longer it can stay around and be sustainable. Sometimes, unfortunately, organizations go away for a little bit if there's no student leadership willing to take on, positions in the organization. Related question I'm seeing here: which clubs have the most involvement and are the most active? That's a very good question as well. I would say we have quite a few cultural identity-based organizations on campus that are quite large. The two that stand out for me right now are our Filipino student organization, which is called Akbayan. And we also have our Vietnamese Student Association. Both of those have hundreds of members, I want to say. And it's hard to get a head count on those kind of things, but a lot of those cultural organizations are, a yearly staple and provide a lot of opportunities for SJSU students to bond, to celebrate their culture. Both of those organizations do like a cultural night every year, I want to say. So I would say the average size of an organization is usually between 15 to 50. But we do have a few organizations, like I mentioned, that are probably in the hundreds. And then as far as our fraternities and sororities go, again, it really depends. There are some with a handful of members, and there are some with 75 plus. Hopefully I'm accurate on the numbers there, Caitlin. Thanks for your question. Got a question in the chat here. Is the joining of this club annually or per semester? Most of them, once you join, you should be a member for however long you're here at San Jose State. Some of the clubs I mentioned earlier might have a specific fee or something like that, and it's really up to the organization in how that fee is dispersed. And so if it's every semester, then you might have to pay, $20 or $30 every semester, and essentially that renews your membership fee. Other organizations where you just join, like you'll remain a member until you're no longer at the university, kind of thing. So hopefully that's a good answer for you there. Got a question here about the dining halls. Unfortunately, I don't know how late they stay open. I imagine until 10 or 11. Maybe we can find a link for you to see how late they stay open, but our students are awake at all hours of the day and or night, so I can't imagine it would be closed too early. Thanks, Helen, for linking the housing website. We've probably got time for one more quick question. We are ending our time at 5:45 today. So we'll see if there's anything else that we can answer for folks. And I'm not seeing anything. Thanks, Alexis, for putting the hours of some of the other dining spots on campus. Yeah, it's not just the dining commons. There's some other little restaurants you can stop by. But I think that's going to wrap up, our offering for the evening or the afternoon, depending on where you're at. So again, thank you so much for being with us this evening for Life as a Spartan. Student involvement team's always here for you, and hopefully we'll see you on campus in the fall as a student. So thank you, take care, and have a good rest of your week.